Respected Dua Sahab, Ambassador Kumar, Dr. Qureshi, Professor Hassan, Dr. Meira, ladies and gentlemen. We are living in the post-modern world, a world where there is no fundamental truth. It is said that the opposite of truth is not lie, it is an alternative truth. Ideology is on retreat, and today pessimism seems to have become a new realism. We are also come to a stage when we are alone together. In our own country, we seem to have come to a stage where only the pessimists are regarded as serious intellectuals. But if I have to choose between Panglossian optimism and Cassandran pessimism, I will be on the side of the former. I have another reason to be on the side of optimism. Democracy, after all, is not without utopia. And all is not wrong with utopia. When I say this, I do not refer to the United States, about which one French scholar says it's a land of achieved utopia. Various groups of Indians are working from below to reach that destination. I'm reminded of a Uruguayan scholar, Eduardo Galeano, who writes of utopia. I quote, "I go 2 steps, she moves 2 steps away. I walk 10 steps, the horizon runs 10 steps ahead. No matter how much I walk, I will never reach her. What good is utopia? Well, it's good for walking." Our democracy may not have become very deliberative in terms of service and all that. It may even have become demagocracy. In fact, occasionally we are voting the castes. Many say democracy has simply become polyarchy, but it hasn't yet become a dystopia, and that is where the hope is. Has our democracy underperformed, or have we expected too much from it? Why do we expect our democracy to deliver like China? Maybe we are fascinated by elephant versus dragon debate in the West. Democracy, after all, is a daily plebiscite. It is being questioned on a daily basis. This is where the difficulties are. But what has happened is that there is a feeling everywhere that the good ones were not so good, and the bad ones were, after all, not so bad. It's very true that we could have done much better, but have we fared really too badly? India's recent journey appears to be conforming to what may be called computational complexity theory. It is characterized by a chaos of behavior in which components of the system never quite lock into place, and yet it never also quite dissolves into turbulence. Chaos and order, as we know, are the polar opposites. I think that is very true of our reality. Modern thermodynamics also tells us that there are 3 basic kinds of systems: isolated, closed, and open. I think India is exactly like that. No matter, it is said that the Indian exceptionalism cannot be replicated. Perhaps India can be replicated by Indians only. Our democracy is very much like a baby seal, which is lampooned by from different directions by the disapproving parents, jealous critics, and by all manners of right-thinking people. Today we have come to a stage where we discuss your corruption is bad, mine is good. But one good thing is that we have not yet thrown democracy to the dustbin. Of course, the democracy is not perfect. No democracy can be. Democracy is only a constant state of tension and incompleteness. We have committed many mistakes, but as Gandhiji said, that freedom is not worth having if it doesn't include the freedom to commit mistakes. Are we more inclusive today? May not be, but we seem to have started moving in that direction, as some of the policies that we have enunciated in recent years have been mentioned before. Definitely there is an emphasis on inclusive growth, but also inclusive governance. This is where we see the Panchayati Raj institutions and various other schemes where people have started rising from below, and that is a good sign. Today we see a new geometry of power which is shaping up. Some would say it is a geography from below. People have created a path that is with, against, and beyond the government. Today, we also see a new reality. We have empowered citizens, but weakened leaders. We also see the withering away of institutional politics, but the importance of bread and butter politics. The third thing is that space is emptying out at the top, but filling up at the bottom. I think these are good signs. So the good story is that we have started innovating ourselves, reinventing our democracies, and that's why many of the institutions, whether it is the Election Commission, whether it is the National Human Rights Commission, Minority Commission, many of these institutions have given depth to our democracy. And I think it is this deepening of democracy that is very, very positive. But where we have failed is governance. There are clear-cut governance deficits. We Indians are masters at creating leaders, prophets, and gods. But we do not need leaders, certainly not big leaders. As Emilio Zapata, the leader of Mexican Revolution, said, big leaders make people weak. And this is exactly where the hope is, that the leadership is emerging from below. Remember another thing. People took the Bastille without Lenin and without a leader, because the day it was taken, there was no Danton, there was no Robespierre. They all came later. Now, coming to, again, the specific aspect of inclusive society, it should be a society for all, where every individual, each with rights and responsibility, has an active role to play. By this definition, I'm afraid very few societies are very inclusive. But how is it that some societies are more inclusive than others? And that is something that we need to know. We must have the participatory citizenship. We must have existence of strong civil society. We must respect cultural diversity. But more than anything else, we need to create social citizenship. And that is very important. As long as the disadvantaged minorities and the Adivasis feel othered, what Mr. Dua has very clearly told us, democratic citizenship will remain at risk, and that is the challenge that we need to address. Social cohesion is not the same as social inclusion. Social inclusion is political response to inclusion. It is social cohesion plus, it is citizenship plus. Finally, the good thing is that we have moved away from benefits of growth to trickle-down formulations and come to inclusive growth, and I think that is very important, and that is also making a lot of reverberations internationally. Let me conclude by saying the blame game doesn't help. Rabindranath Tagore said, "Who are you condemning? bow your head. The sin is mine. The sin is yours. Thank you very much.